Serikali hii yetu hii, watu wetu hatumchukie Ruto, lakini Ruto amefanya mambo mabaya sana. Unaenda kupeana vitambulisho mpaka nje ya Kenya. Unapeana citizenship kwa watu ambao sio wa Kenya.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nzoia Governor George Natembeya was speaking at his own constituency or Nzoia County recently, and what he said about national identification cards, Ugandan citizenship, and Kenya's sovereignty is something I want us to sit with carefully today. The Nzoia Governor George Natembeya made several distinct claims in the address that the Ruto's administration has been issuing Kenyan national identification documents to non-citizens, people who are not Kenyan. That national registration officials are operating on the Ugandan side of the border, issuing Kenyans ID from there. That foreigner are being registered as voters, crossing into Kenya to vote and then return to Uganda in 2027. And that if he becomes president, his first executive order will be to reverse whatever policy or practice has been allowed this to happen and restore the integrity of Kenyan identity documents. Beyond those claims, the governor went further, warning that during the next elections, his supporters would set up checkpoints and personally interrogate anyone they suspect is a foreigner attempting to vote. He described exactly how those interrogations would go, asking people where they are from, who their father is, who their neighbors are, which school did they attend, and who the headmasters were. That is the statement, well detailed, charged, and politically loaded. To understand the context, you have to look at where George Natembeya comes from, professionally and politically. So before becoming Nzoia governor, Natembeya served as the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner, a senior national government administrator who oversaw security and coordination across one of the Kenya's most expansive and border adjacent region. He is not a politician who tramples into the broader security discourse. He spent years in heat. Nzoia County itself sits in western Kenya, sharing proximity with the broader border corridor of the Uganda. The communities along Kenya's western front line, particularly towards Busia, Malaba, and the broader Uganda boundary, have long had cross-border family ties, trade, relationship, and movement of pattern that make the questions of national registration genuinely complex. Crucially, the issue of irregular ID registration along Kenya's border is not new. It has been raised in parliament or parliamentary debates by civil society organization groups, by successful interior cabinet secretaries over the years. So what Natembeya is doing is talking about something existing, documented concerns, and political weaponizing it ahead of the 2027. Following that, the timing of this statement matters enormously. Kenya is approximately 14 months away from the 2027 general election. Presidential campaigns are already active, and Natembeya is building his political base and his audience both in Nzoia and across Western Kenya. is one of that as historically felt economically and politically marginalized. The Jobs claim it makes that Ugandans holding Kenyan ID are not taking technical position, and police slots meant for Kenyans spark directly to unemployment. Anxiety in the region. Meanwhile, the Ruto's administration handling of the Huduma number program and the subsequent national registration exercises has faced scrutiny. There have been legitimate questions raised in parliament in the media industry sector about the integrity of mass registration exercises, and particularly in border counties. Natembeya is pulling from that existence well of public concern. On the back of that, the checkpoints proposals deserve separate analysis. A sitting governor publicly stating that his supporters will physically stop and interrogate people at polling areas based on suspected foreign origin, that crosses from political speech into a territory that security agencies and the IEBC would have serious concerns about it. Kenya's electoral laws are very clear. Voter intimidation and interference with the electoral process carries legal consequences. The proposal, as stated, describes organized civilians' interrogation of voters, which is neither a registered party agent, functions, or a legal civil role. Beyond that, the ethnic and regional undertones in that checkpoints descriptions are not subtitled. The specific mention of Ugandans and Somalis, combined with the assurance that these people will look or will know who is local and who is not, that is a statement about identity, belonging, exclusion that carries weight in the countries with Kenya's inter-community history. What Natembeya is constructing at this stage of 2027 race is a political identity built on sovereignty, border, and protection of Kenya's resources for Kenyans. That message has generally resonated particularly in regions that border Uganda and in communities where competition for government job is on high alert. The challenge is that the claims about registration of official issuing ID from Uganda and about organized voter importation from across the border are serious enough that they demand evidence. Making them on a public platform without producing that evidence put the governor in the position of either being a whistleblower with information that law enforcement should act on, or a politician using fear of the outsider to consolidate his own base.